How's it going? You know, for the longest time, while I was researching this topic, I have just been beaming in so many different ways. This is going to be a very different video from what I am uh, usually posting here because in this one, I'm going to be going over some source material that we're going to be going over, walking through, and seeing. So, um, I suppose this whole idea, the economics of food and the silent pandemic, is a really big issue that I would love to speak about in one video because I do believe that brevity is always best, but it is so expanded that I just had to get it out, even though there's so many things that I was trying to ascertain and get in place before I actually began this this journey into making this whole video. But then I'm gonna perhaps I'll break it down into parts. I'll just see how it goes. I'll just see how the spirit leads me in this one. But this is one of the most important videos that I've ever posted. As a matter of fact, I was thinking of posting it on my other channel. This is the channel that deals with wealth and money. But I suppose this video is not exactly for that channel. It is a bridge of the different worlds that I am involved in, which is to understand wealth and also to understand finance and to understand spirituality. All right, so there's spirituality and there's spirituality. So this is very important to get a hold of. And when I read the Bible, I know that it is the wise man who leaves a fortune for his children and his children's children. And in this particular video, I've taken this picture of children here because this is all about that. This is about the future. And this is the economics of food and the silent pandemic that we probably never heard of. And the one thing that I wanted to start with was to show you this is a mushroom, this is money, and this is a mushroom cloud. All right, so it is very interesting that the same mushroom that was all right when we are as living organisms, when we are constituted and formed, people believe that how the world developed and everything developed was an explosion, that was a big bang or something like that, that just created life to just mushroom on the earth. So the first organism was a mushroom. And when they say that the world will end with a big bang, it will be because of a mushroom cloud, because of nuclear war, because of the people. So this is very key, right? And then all of this is because of money, all of this nuclear energy, nuclear wars, and whatever. So this is about the economics of food. So I'm going to be talking about money, and I'm going to be talking about a whole lot of other things. So here I'm going to start. I'm going to start. I'm going to start with this. I'm going to start out of this world, and as we build, we're going to go back down to earth. All right. As a Moyondijo, I feel like the heart is the earth. So we're gonna go back down to earth, but for now we're going all the way to Pluto, which is the last planet. All right. So we're going on a journey. This is what I'm saying. It's a very big topic. It's a very big topic. So this actually is on the backdrop. This is important. This is on the backdrop of coronavirus, right? This is on the backdrop of coronavirus disease. Listen to the words, right? The coronavirus disease. This is on the backdrop of all of the things that are happening in terms of George Floyd, right? This is on the backdrop of all of that, and things still unfolding. This is on the backdrop of the year 2020 that started with a country going to bomb another country like Iran being bombed, and this is on the backdrop of all of the things that have been happening up until right now, as I can see. But now we're gonna go look further into the future, or further into the outer regions, over like metaphysics. So we're speaking in terms of metaphysics. So this is like beyond physics. Meta is above, between, and beyond metaphysics. So here I'm on H.A.M Online. So this speaks about etymology. So when you want to know the roots of a word, it's just like a dictionary. All right. So we're gonna start with Pluto. Now, there's a reason why we're starting so far off. Like, but then there's a common gravitational pull that is bringing us here. That the spirit took me here. That I understand and I have to explain. All right. So Pluto. We're getting into this. Pluto. So Pluto is the Roman god of the underworld. All right. So this name was given by people who saw this planet and named it after a Roman god. So there were already spiritual connotations when they gave the planet this name. However, it's not just any god, it is the god of wealth. All right, wealth. It's very important. We're speaking about the economics of food. So we're speaking about wealth, economics, and things like that. So we're speaking about wealth and riches. So Pluto is from Plotus, which is Pluto, which just means riches. So Pluto means riches, and originally overflowing. All right, so this is the god of money, overflowing, abundance. All right, and it's also the Greek name of Hades in its function as the god of wealth. So the god of this death, like the god of the underworld, excuse me, not necessarily death, underworld, is the same one, Hades, who is also in charge of wealth. All right, so it's all about digging deep inside, invest, inside, invest, interest. So the precious metals, the gems coming from beneath. All right, this is people investing in the earth. So I already said I'm a moyondijo, right, which means righteous heart, moyondijo, which is in my language. So earth is where we're at. So we're gonna bring it down to earth. But here, listen, we're speaking about the furthest planet, right? And it's already bringing us back to earth. Okay, this is powerful. We're speaking about the furthest planet, and it's bringing us back down under the earth. This is interesting. All right, so there's already the metaphysical parallel that is being drawn. The furthest being the closest, or being like, yeah, the closest, like within the earth, within the heart. Because when you take H-E-A-R-T, you have heart, which is the same word for earth. So the earth, the heart, is your innermost being. This is what it's speaking about, the outermost planet, speaking to the innermost earth, you know, the core of the earth. This is interesting, right? So already we're speaking about this planet has been downgraded. All right, and that is what it is, and you know, that's the end of the story. So let's just look at some other words that are involving wealth and riches, right? So there's plutocracy and plutolatry, right? The worship of wealth. And a plutocracy is when people who are wealthy rule. This is what we already have. So we have a plutocracy that is a technocracy as well. Plutolatry, this is when people worship this god of wealth, okay? And plutomania, all of this. But here, what we're actually speaking about here is the subject of Plutonomics. So this is pertaining to the science or study of wealth or riches. So this is what we're talking about, and this is a very, very old term. So speaking about Plutonomics and about wealth, economic wealth. So first of all, we're at Pluto, right? So this is just the page for Pluto here, and what I'm looking at is Pluto, right? And it's speaking about this planet, and it's having bodies that are orbiting Neptune. It was the first and the largest in this belt, but it was discovered that it wasn't the biggest one, so it was downgraded. So it was first discovered in 1930 and declared to be the 9th planet from the Sun. After 92, the status was questioned following the discovery of several objects of similar size in the Kuiper belt. Now, in 2005, interesting, very, very interesting, a dwarf planet in the scattered disk, which is 27% more massive than Pluto, was discovered. Very interesting. Okay, this led to International Astronomical Union to define the term planet formally in 2006, bringing their 26th General Assembly. So when they were saying this, they excluded Pluto and reclassified it as a dwarf planet. It is the ninth largest and third most massive known object directly orbiting the Sun. It is the largest known trans-Neptunian object by volume, but is less massive than Eris. Alright, very important planet. So Eris is also interesting to me because I have a video on the etymology of America, and Eris is something that I skipped over. I missed that part, but it's also tied in with that video. Yes, and before I actually move further, it is important for you to watch a little bit of my other content if you're actually getting hip to this right now, because this has been the hippie vibe. It has been moving. Like, there's so much that when you connect the other pieces of information, you understand what I'm saying if there's something in this video that is particularly unclear. However, let's move on. So Eris, very important because it removed this god of wealth, and money makes the world go round, right? Money makes the earth go round, as we heard Pluto is speaking about beneath the earth. So Eris. Now let's check out what Eris is. Alright, so I'm gonna do this. Oh yeah, I'm using DuckDuckGo. This is the way to do it. So Eris, this is great. And what is Wikipedia telling us? This is a dwarf planet. It is the most massive and second largest known dwarf planet in the solar system. It was discovered in January 2005. Alright, one thing about this is when you take the word 2005, what you have, wait, let me actually do this better for you to see. Alright, so I just opened Paint. Alright, so I want to show you, this is alright, let me just make it a bit thicker. I'm gonna make it a bit thicker. So this is 2005 that this happened, right? So now I want you to see something here. This is 2. This is digital speak, okay? And this is 5. Alright, so when you take this 2 here and you take this 5, after you flip it upside down, you get a 2020. This is what I'm seeing from 2005, because this is 2020. So this 5 here going there, this transposition here. So yeah, this is just something that is just a side note, and it's just interesting for me because all of this is clicking now. Okay, so yeah, just a side note, but this is what I'm saying. You should just check out the other stuff as well. So anyway, this was discovered in 2005, and this was a discovery that was named. So in 2006, it was named after the goddess of strife and discord. Alright, so when you make that analysis, when you know that this was discovered in or announced in 2005, and in 2020 there is what? There is Eris in what? There is Eris in Unreleased. Okay, so this is what I was talking about in the video of the etymology of America. Right, so this is very interesting. So let's take a closer look. So Eris is the planet, right? And an important thing about it is here. So it was named after the goddess of strife and discord. Eris is the 9th most magic, and then 16th. It is also the largest object. All right, here. here, Eris is a trans-Neptunian object and a member of a high eccentricity population known as the scattered disk. It has one known moon. So moon is very important, and the moon's name is Dysnomia. Dysnomia. As of February 2016, its distance from the sun was this. All right, and so these are two words that are being introduced in 2005, right? And this is a planet called Eris, and it's named after a god. So let's take a closer look at Eris. So in mythology, this is Eris. This is what they found, and this is what's toppled. So when you are looking at Pluto, Pluto in astronomy is in the constellation of Scorpio, all right, and Scorpio has a sting. All right, let's actually just look at this quickly. So no, we're gonna look at Scorpio. Already we all right. Already we've seen that the planet of Pluto was named after a god, so there's already that understanding. But here when we say Scorpio, it is the 8th sign in the zodiac. It is from the constellation of Scorpius, and the right, so these are the months, and the sun is in Scorpio from this time. Alright, here I want to show you. So the sign ruler of Scorpio is Pluto. Okay, so this is what we're talking about. So it's speaking about the scorpion, which is mixed with water. Water came and gave the deluge, which is the delusion. Go to the video on, what is it? It is White Lies in the Bible, speaks about that. But then it speaks about water, and then water is also rebirth, and Scorpio is the sign of regeneration. All right, so going back to Eris in mythology, this is Eris. So Eris is bigger than Scorpio, right? And this is strife and discord, fighting with that energy, or removing that energy. As a matter of fact, it's not a fight necessarily, but a shift in consciousness, because now we are speaking of strife, and there is this discord, such a discord. If you actually analyze what's happening right now in politics, with how Trump was nominated, people hate him. He might be helping the people, but people don't really know. Now people are marching, they're rioting because they hate him, but he is also loved. There's so much discord, and this is 2020, but this was 2005. So this is just how I see it. So her Roman equivalent is Discordia, which means discord. So Eris. So America in discord means the whole world is in discord. This is why this actually affects me from wherever you are. This Eris is the era, right? The king of the era, and Eric is a king. So when you say Eris, this is the king that is now ruling, right, over the wealth, because that is not exactly ruling over the wealth, but that is affecting aspects of the wealth, because, or the god of wealth, which is Pluto, because of Eris, right? So this is could be seen as China, which is that dragon or something like that, or even this winged. I'm just saying, all of this stuff is just interesting, and then I'm just stumbling upon this, and this. All right, let me actually show you how this is so trippy. So Eris's Greek opposite is Harmonia. So the Greeks took everything, and Concordia. But it's interesting that Harmonia also has harm. Okay? And Homer equated her with the war goddess Enyo, whose Roman counterpart is Bellona. The dwarf planet Eris is named after the goddess. Alright, so Bellona, which means war as well, which is Bellicos, which is after the war goddess Enyo. Okay, so she had no temples in Greece, Concordia in Italy. Yes. So here, so this is Eris in mythology, right? So this is where the name comes from. But here again, no, let's go back. Here again, I want us to go. So Eris is that, right? But I want us to go to the moon, which is dysnomia. So dysnomia. So dysnomia is also, all right. Let me actually go here first. Alright, so dysnomia is this. So dysnomia is the moon that is discovered around Eris. Dysnomia is the only known moon of this planet, right? This is what it is. But where does the word dysnomia come from? So what is it? Okay, where is the etymology? So we actually discovered that dysnomia is the name of another deity as well. Okay, so Eris is a god of strife, right? Of discord. And Eris, that is Eris. And then dysnomia, the moon, is named. People actually gave it the name Eris, first of all, right? Then they also gave it the name dysnomia to the moon. And dysnomia means what? Anarchy, lawlessness. And this is exactly what's happening, which is crazy. This is exactly what is happening. So all of this lawlessness is happening because of all of these things that went down, like I was just trying to find one of those videos, but it's actually saying one of these videos, you know, which is very recent. But then this is all dysnomia. This is all coming because of the gods of wealth in this world want this to be like this. Anyway, so imagine, so this is dysnomia, the moon. Imagine by Hesiod among the daughters aboard Eris, which is strife, is a demon of, or daemon of demon, same thing, of lawlessness, who shares in nature with Ate, which is ruin. So they want to say from order, chaos, chaos, order, right? This is Scorpio, the regenerator. She makes rare appearances among other personifications in poetical text and ancient Greek religion, but becomes central to Greek philosophy. See Plato's laws. So all of this is going to lead to things that affect laws. All right. So so this is the moon that is around Eris, and this is dysnomia. This is the moon, and this is dysnomia, the deity. All right. So the same thing is with Eris. Eris is a planet, but it is named after the goddess of strife and discord. Exactly what is happening. So there's something I found here that was interesting. So this is in Hesiod's Theogony. Strife, the daughter of night, is less. So here you actually see the symbol golden apple, and we know that the apple, right? All right, should we talk about the apple? Right, which is what we're talking about. All right, in the beginning, in the end. Okay, but anyway, it's talking about this apple. So this is a whole story about it, but it's born by night alone, or with Erebus, or with Zeus, or with Hera. So maybe it is from the night alone, all one, right? Which is this strife and discord. So these are the siblings, and they have the whole thing. But then this is something that I found very interesting. So, and hateful Eris bore painful Ponos, which is hardship, Leth, forgetfulness, starvation. Starvation is gonna be the crux of everything that we're going over right now. This is all about the economics of food, and this is coming from the cosmos. You understand what I'm saying? This is about, like, first we're going to Pluto so that we can come down back here to Earth to what's happening, which is, since all of this, when they conceived this planet, They were giving us all of these into our consciousness. Those people who know what they're doing. There's so many people who have these mysterious powers. They can open portals. So what they were doing, they invited these spirits of forgetfulness, spirits of starvation, spirits of pains, of battles, of wars, of murders, manslaughters, quarrels, lies, stories, and disputes, anarchy, right? And dysnomia is anarchy. So this is what you be seeing when we are speaking of like the world changing, but this being the last days, right? Because this is what is in the Bible. All of these things are mentioned, but these are manifest now in different ways. So this is why we have to know this. 8, this is when we eat and ruined ourselves. Horcrux, this is oats. All of these things are now rising up because of this, because of this heir, and era. Because someone else wants to be the heir of the throne, of wealth. Because that was the whole thing, for the love of money, right? So this is what is happening, like in a very, very, very high and cosmic sense. This is what we're dealing with, right? That that this mythology is what is actually ruling this this era right now. This is what is happening. All right. So all of this discord, all of this dysnomia, it is happening, but then it is all because of the Plutonomics. All right, and it's all plutocratic. All right. So I'm gonna start closing some of these tabs so that we can cover more ground. So here, when I'm speaking in terms of Eris in mythology, this is also manifest in real life. Okay, so yeah, we're really diving into this. We're really diving into the deep end. So still speaking on Plutonomics, this is what we're talking about here. We're talking about wealth, right? The well-being, and this is about the abundance of valuable financial assets or physical possessions, which can be converted into a form that can be used for transactions. So this is a map of the total wealth per capita. So this shows different income distributions. The ones in green have a lot of cheese. The ones in red don't. All right. So we're gonna go over some very, very basic and fundamental aspects that are not really spoken about a lot. So I'm going to do this as succinctly as possible. So wealth creation, billionaires such as Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, Musk, Charlie Munger, and all of those. So all of these people are the people who are actually in charge of the world, right? Right now, if we speak of 2020 and vaccination, he is going to decide your fate. And if you speak about 2020 and your nourishment, he is going to decide your fate. And if we speak about this moving forward and banking and money, he will decide your fate. And your future is in Musk. In Musk we trust, right? So all of this is just like how our world works, right? Because these are the people who say they've accrued knowledge, and they say knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. But then the thing is, it is not about knowledge. It is about the knowledge of the truth. Right? So if you just have knowledge, you can have knowledge of evil. That is power to do evil. So this is a very incomplete statement. So actually, I just want us to go here. This is the Bible Hub, right? And then this is the King James Version. This is John 8 verse 32, right? And this is what I'm doing right here. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. It shall make you free. This is what it's all about. The truth shall make you free. And this is in John 8 verse 32. And this is all about, just knowing the truth. It's not just about knowing for knowing. It is about knowing what is true. All right. So, and because I tell you the truth, you believe me not. So sometimes people just hear the cold hard truth, but they just do not believe it. All right. So he that is of God hears God's words. You therefore hear them not, because you're not of God. Right. So you're supposed to be able to hear this, because when you hear, you have H, right, E-A-R, and then you have a T here in your heart. Your heart has an ear. So when you hear God's words, it hits you in your heart. This is what he's saying. You don't hear it through my words. Like right now, you could hear my words, but you gotta feel me. You gotta feel me, right? You gotta feel me. You gotta get the vibe. And our heart has a stronger vibration than our brain. Our heart vibrates stronger than our brain. Our heart powers our brain. When a baby is still a baby, when you actually touch the head of a baby, you will see that the mind is the heart. But then the mind can interpret the heart. So spirituality is being able to understand the subconscious, or the heart, sub, which is under, the heart, which is your under, like this is your earth, your ear. So this is what you're supposed to be able to hear. And when you touch a baby's head, this is what it is. And I know this because I am a heart person. We call moyondijo, righteous heart. So this is the heart, which is the ear, which is the head, H-E-A, the head, the heart. All right. So all of this, in this whole verse, he's speaking about the truth. All right. So and then he ends up saying, I am. He manifests. All right. So this is all about the truth. And in verse 32, he says, and you shall know truth. So the truth is the power, right? So when the wealthy are speaking about this, knowledge is power, but it has to be qualified. So wealth creation happens through scientific method, Wakanda, right? Economics and continuous lifelong learning. This is another way. Reading and education, right? Learning from rich people, billionaires and millionaires. And investment in knowledge pays the best interest. The best investment you can make is an investment in yourself. The more you learn, the more you earn. So in my opinion, I really believe that wealth is very important, and this is why I have a channel dedicated on the whole spirit, on the whole conversation on money, because without money you don't have power. It is not the reason why they're saying this knowledge is power here. This knowledge is power here when we're talking about wealth, because when we say wealth, or when we say currency, what we're saying is let me actually illustrate this, so that, no, don't save this, thank you. So when we say like knowledge, right, when you know, it means now, right? And now means what? Current. What are you currently doing? What are you doing right now, right? And a current is what you call what? An electrical current, right? An electric current, which is like power, which is like, yeah, gee, zap. But then it's also what? A currency, not the rapper, but yeah, a currency, which is money. So this is power. So when they say knowledge is money, they're saying currency is money. This is what they're actually saying. So their power is money. The only reason why anyone is listening to Bill Gates is because he has what? Currency. That's it. The only reason why we care about Jeff Bezos because he's got currency. But he has that currency because there's something he knows. He did something, and there's something he knows that is being acknowledged for, and this is what is going on. So this is just how it is. So it is very important to have wealth, because it is a wise man who leaves a fortune for his children and his children's children, and that is an aspect of our wisdom that we want to exploit through knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. But first we have to know the truth, and the truth shall set us free. So this knowledge is power statement, right? It is so now we're going deeper. So this is the Latin phrase of the same phrase here. So when you click this says this phrase scientia potentia est, Est is. Science. Science. When you say science, you're not talking about technology. What you're saying is knowledge. Power is potentia. So here when we say science potentia est, this is knowledge, power is, or knowledge is power. And science, sapiens, this is wisdom or knowledge. So when we say science, when we learn science, science is a branch of knowledge. So science is knowledge. So this could be said science is power. So this would be more accurate than to say knowledge is power. It's actually science is power. Science is power. So as we go into a technocratic world, we know that scientists will have more power. But then science in its pure sense, in fact, let's actually do this. Let's actually go to the etymology of the word science. So that we can actually get where the word comes from, what we're actually dealing with and talking about here. Alright, I'm actually just going to click this, and I'm not going to go on the other definitions. But then, science, it is what is known. Science is knowledge of something acquired by study, information. This is what it is. Assurance of knowledge, certitude, certainty, knowledge, learning, corpus, human knowledge. So to know, this is science. So to separate one thing from another. So sire, like a scissors. This is where it comes from, when you separate things. So this is what you do when you are experimenting. It is scientific. Because you're separating things. So you're separating the process and things like that. But the way you do your science shows your intelligence and skill. So those scientists are just separating things using their own intelligence and skill. But depending on what you know, it is a science. So what I'm doing right now, it is an economic science, right? Because I'm speaking about wealth and I'm breaking it down with my own skill. This is what I can understand it to be, break it down to be, and sire it. Sire, like a king. Sire, like a scissors. So separate, to cut, divide, like a sword. Swords are words, and words are what we hear or read. Knowledge is power, faith is power. Faith comes through hearing the word. Alright, so this is all scientific. The Bible is science, pure science. To divide, this is what Jesus says, I have come to give you science. When he says to was it Peter, when he says, yeah, people think I've come to give peace, but no, I've come to give a sword. To divide, I've come to give science, I've come to give knowledge. The truth shall set you free. So this is what it's speaking about. And book learning, experiential knowledge. So this is now recent. So when we speak of the oldest understanding of this, it is knowledge, okay, from the Latin. So when we go to this, so yeah, we can actually go down some more. Let's see, because these words are so interesting, and words are why I do this. So this is to cut, to know, to separate one thing from another, intelligence, science, scientia. So this is how this word emerged from this, to cut, split, the word, the sword, to knowledge, all right, which is discernment. So when you read of discernment in the Bible, it always says the power of discernment, which is the power of knowledge, which is also purchasing power. So yeah, knowing, expertness. And then this is now what we say is science now. This is now what is known. So now we have figured it all out, knowledge of something. So now this is where we're at. That we're saying science is anything that is certain. That's not the original understanding of it. But then this is how it is morphed. So when you want to ascertain, you have to do this scientifically. All right. So here is where we were, right? Scientia potentia est. So science potential is. So knowledge is power. So here we're gonna come full circle back to this, but this is important to what we're gonna be discussing. this is just the tip of the iceberg. We're still on Pluto, but don't worry, we're now coming back down to Earth to seeing the actual steps we can implement in order to stave off this silent pandemic. All right, so this is very important. We're gonna touch on this again, but then you see, like, it is right here at the beginning, and we're gonna discover it at the end. But for now, I'm gonna leave it. All right, and here, what we have gone over is the different types of wealth. So when we are looking at this study of econometrics, or of Plutonomics, wow, it escaped me a second there. We're speaking about wealth. So here are the richest cities in the world, right? And look at these figures. So when we look at the world's richest cities in 2017, we see that London is right there at the top. And on my other channel, I actually have a video that makes it apparent why London is the richest city. It is the video called, it's a video on Panama Papers and the City of London Corporation. And New York, Tokyo. So these are really rich cities, and they have all of this money. All right, they have all of this money, and the people there live relatively well, right? So these are what we'd call like first world countries. So in our world, we have three worlds: first, second world, right? And we also have different classes: the upper class, right? We also have the middle class and the lower class. It's also in threes. So everything is always in threes. And we also have this whole issue of the distribution of wealth, right? So the household, so here we're still talking about Plutonomics, right? We're talking about money. So there's 125 trillion, right, in the year 2000. So total household wealth in the world, this is 125 trillion. But then of all of this money, there's a large group that has most of this. Oh no, sorry, a small group that has most of this. So the United Nations estimated that it is 118 trillion in the US alone. But in 2000 they thought it was 125 in the whole world. But in the US alone, maybe it's 125 in one country. So there's a lot of wealth that is circulating, and about 90% of the global wealth is distributed in North America, Europe, and rich Asia Pacific countries. And in 2018, 1% of adults were estimated to hold 40% of world wealth. All right, so there's 1% that has 40% of all of the money in the world. So that is that is not cool, right? So that is that breeds a lot of problems. I'll just put it that way. That breeds a lot of problems, and that is at the crux of everything to do with Pluto and everything like that. So they say that this 40% is in real dollars, but then when they adjust it for exchange rates and things like that, they would see that it drops to 32%. So they're saying, yeah, it's not that bad, but it is still bad, right? So in 2013, 1% of adults were estimated to hold 46% of the world wealth. So what this is telling us is that in 2008, the ratio of the wealthy 1% was at 40%. But then in 2013, so 5 years later, 1% of the adults had more wealth. So their wealth grew 6%. So it was growing like 1% plus a year. And around 18 trillion was estimated to be stored in tax havens worldwide. So as I said before, there's a video on my other channel, which is Nerdy Money, which speaks about tax havens, the city of London, and things like that. And I discussed that in greater detail. So and then there's also this concept of owning. So yeah, so I'm not gonna read everything, but obviously all of this is part of our science. So as a person who is to inherit the earth, you have to know wealth, because it is all the earth, everything, the natural resources, right? This is what it is, the wealth of the land. So all right, so here I want us to go here. All right, so this is a picture from Credit Suisse Bank, the Swiss bank, and it's speaking. It is a picture of the wealth range. All right, so what is showing us here is this pyramid structure, and this pyramid structure is showing us the distribution of wealth. So these are the people at the bottom of this structure, while these people at the bottom have less than $10,000, and the money goes up. So these people in this area here, about 21%, have 10,000 to 100,000, pretty good. And the people at this area here, which is the upper middle class, have about 100,000 to a million, right? And then oh sorry, this is the lower middle class, upper middle class, and then the upper middle class has over $1 million US, right? So this is the net worth of an individual, and this is, wow, interesting. So the people at the top here, so this is what we say the top 1% here. So this is the people who have $128 trillion. This is the figure, the arbitrary number we're just speaking about. So yeah, this has been adjusted and all of that, but then this is showing 46% of the wealth is with these people, about 0.7% of the total population on the earth, which is about 36 million people. However, within this top 1%, there is 1% within the 1%, because of this 1%, there is a top 1%, which is to say that of the people who have $1 million and above, there are certain other people who have like so when we actually go over this group, or this population of 36 million people, we see that these 36 million people are also segregated in a fractal manner or pattern, just like this. So there's also another tier system, just like this, on a smaller scale. So this would also be shown that even in this group at the very top, there will be also a large base of people who have somewhere like 1 million to 25 million, and then 25 million to 50 million, 50 million to 500 billion, 500 million, a billion plus, and things like that. So it actually goes on and on and on. And even when you look at in the world right now, there are only about 3,500 billionaires, roughly. 3,500 people have over a billion in a world that has 7 billion people plus, 7.5 billion people plus. But then there are only 3,000, right, who have $1 billion plus. So that's something to really wonder about. And the money that they have is in the trillions. So here, what ends up happening is that at the bottom, there's 70% of all of the people in the world who do not have. Okay, so this is basically how the wealth is distributed, and this is exactly what it looks like. So when you're looking at this is something that could be also imposed in a smaller way. So now we're just gonna make a comparison. So there is this whole understanding. So I guess I'm just gonna go straight for it, right? And I guess I'll go through as much content as I possibly can right now, and I'll do it as quickly as possible. All right. So this is the wealth pyramid. This is how the wealth is distributed. And when we go on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, now we're getting even deeper. We're coming down to earth. We're all the way from Pluto, but we're coming back here to earth. All right. So now we go to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So this is a theory in psychology proposed by Maslow. This is about the theory of human motivation. So this is speaking about motivating people. All right. So this is about how we develop our psychology and how we are motivated, how we grow. And what it actually shows us is how our society is organized. So in terms of in terms of the motivation for this, it was to show people's motivations, and let's take a closer look. So, what we have is a pyramid structure again, right? And then the proportions are basically different. But then what I want us to pay attention to is going to take us back into the economics of money, and it's going to give us a clearer view of exactly what I'm talking about. So here from this we're gonna transition into like going down to earth and coming into the information that is gonna make us understand the certain problems that we're facing, and how we're actually supposed to transcend. So I have no idea how long this video is gonna be, but I hope that you can just be patient with it. Because like as I'm shooting this, I'm just getting blown away by the gravity of what we're actually going over, right? So at the bottom here, this is where we have the bottom 70% of the people who don't have enough money for enough food, for enough water, for enough warmth, for rest. So they're always stressed. And what we're looking at is the same thing that we're looking at here. We're talking about money, right? But then here we're talking about how money is structured in the society, right? So this is from Credit Suisse, right? And what they're all speaking about is this global wealth pyramid that is showing us there's a few here at the top who make it to this level here, which is what we'd call like self-actualization. But then this is when you have 1 million plus, and I think when you have 1 million plus in your life, you are doing pretty well, right? And then when you're here at the bottom, which is where 70% billions of people, this is where 70% of the people are at, which is where in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, billions of people, 70%, most of the people are worried about food, water, warmth, and rest. And this is the most people. So they don't have physiological needs met. They don't have safety needs met. So they don't have security. They don't have safety. And as a result, they cannot have belongingness. They cannot have love. So they cannot have security without having water. You cannot have safety without having rest. So thinking about relationships, thinking about friends, feeling accomplished, prestige, all of this is out of reach for most people because they have to go through the tiers of society. So I'm looking at these basic needs here, and they're right there at the bottom. And this is a very academic structure that is shown throughout schooling systems and so many other systems. So this is really an official psychological motivational blueprint that we use in our society here, capitalist society in any country. So a lot of people are at the bottom, and those people at the bottom have no money, right? So when you're here in this area, there are no psychological, physiological needs that are met, right? And when you're here in this area, there are 21%, like 1 billion people who earn 10,000 to 100,000. So these people can actually focus on things like a relationship, right? And then with their spouse, one day they're able to make it, to, all right, both of them are able to help each other, This is a better place to be than this area here. But most people are in this area here. So when we speak of this hierarchy, it's not only money, but it's also motivation and physiology and all of that. So very, 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 very few people make it to the top. So I don't know why they made this so big. Maybe it's because they want to write a lot of things. But very few people are self-actualized, which means achieve one fool's potential, including creative activities. So this here actualization. This is why I have this channel. This is why I'm making this video, and I'm not part of this pyramid scheme. But yeah, you're gonna see why it's a pyramid scheme in a second. But I'm not part of this pyramid scheme because it just gives us this system where for you to be at the top, you have to step on some other person beneath you, and this is what our system breeds. This is what it is. So looking at this is actually seeing what society is like, but also seeing that people who care about prestige, people who care about accomplishments, are people in the middle class, probably upper middle class, who care about their golf ranges and stuff like that. People who care or who worry about food, or people who are starving in the third world countries, and there are a lot of them like that, and in Asia and all of those places, because we're looking at wealth. So this is what we mean when we look at this wealth inequality, because through wealth, through Plutonomics, through Pluto, which is the god of wealth, this is where we get hate, because or this is where we get evil, in fact, because the love of money is the root of all evil. So this shows us the effect of wealth, the wealth effect. It leaves most of the people hungry, thirsty, naked, and restless. Most of the people are like that. It leaves most of the people insecure and unsafe. It leaves most of the people with. So for you to be here, you probably need to start somewhere here. So a person who will have esteem needs met probably grew up in a middle class-ish environment, and some of them actually make it to the top. It is very, very, very possible for you to make it from the bottom to the top either way, but in most cases, we just know that for a person who's never had education, for them to say like, oh yeah, they've fulfilled all of the societal requirements and the self-actualize, achieving one's full potential, including creative activities, when you come from the armpit of Africa, like that's very wishful, but possible. Nothing is impossible, but that is not the blueprint. That is the black swan. That is what they want to avoid. This is what it is. This is the system. It's designed so that you step on other people. So this is what we're looking at. So obviously we're dealing with this symbol, and this symbol is the symbol of the pyramid, and this pyramid is what we have. We're speaking about Pluto. We're speaking about money and wealth, and obviously we got to this pyramid, right? And then we are also talking about this society, which is money makes the world go round. This is our world right here. But it is also speaking on the US dollar, all right? So let's go further. So this is the eye of providence. So providence, again, we're speaking about money to provide. And this is called the eye of providence, okay? Providence. This is what it's talking about, providence, when you're here. So this is speaking about what? Providence over here, all right? So the eye is put over here at the top, the providence, all right? So this is the eye of providence, which is called the all-seeing eye of God. It is a symbol. It is in many religions. So we're speaking about religions, and remember when we started our studies, we also went into ancient religions where certain people who know about society, secret societies, right? This is Maslow. This is all about society. This is sociology. This is a branch of sociology. But the fun thing about this branch of Plutonomics is that it touches everything. Pluto. All right. This is Scorpio. The scorpion. It has a sting. It is sharp. It is water, currents, Water is electricity, is currency, is flowing. It is the flow, it is the cash flow. This is Plutonomics. All right, this is wealth, the study of wealth, ruled by Scorpio. Scorpio rules the water. Water is the currency. All right, so when we are here at this eye, we're speaking about the currency. All right, so this is, I'm a Scorpio actually, yeah, so I understand this, and I'm also the heart man, so I understand this. So it is this is the provider, right? Showing, so this is why it is called the all-seeing eye of God. And then on this bill with the eye of providence, it says, in God we trust, in money we trust. So this is the idolatry that comes through this. And this is the secret society. This is the secret society, because this is new order circulum, right? So this is also in Latin. And remember, we're speaking about the sciences and all of that coming from the roots of Latin knowledge and all of that. So here it represents the eye of God watching over humanity. So our gods are going to be the people with the money, because they are here at the top of the top. So when you zoom into this top, you're going to see that there's a whole other ladder system, right? And from there's a top of the top. So those are the gods. So the God watching over humanity, the concept of divine providence. So we're gonna touch on this, but this is when we get into things like what they want to roll in, called universal basic income, divine providence. This is what is going into. This is the fact. This is why I'm bringing this out. This is what it's talking about. So in the modern era, a notable depiction of the eye is a reverse of the Great Seal of the United States. So in our era, right? Remember, we're speaking about eris, era. So era, America. Watch the etymology of America. A notable depiction of this eye is a reverse of the Great Seal of the United States, which appears on the $1 bill, the most common one, so that even those at the bottom are able to touch that one. The most common one has this all-seeing eye. All right, so it's used in the US. So yeah, you can go over this, and obviously we're speaking about these Freemasons. We're speaking about society. This is the society that they're building, right? And this is the society, what it looks like. This is what it is. This is what they're building. This is the pyramid, and this is what they're watching over. And yeah, those guys those guys, you know, those guys. And this is used in these countries in Europe and all of that, Poland, all right, and a lot of Greek fraternities. And as we've already discovered, the Greek fraternities are the ones who are naming these deities. The Romans, this is where we get Latin, comes from Rome, right? And these are the ones who are naming these deities or these planets. Eris, these are Roman Greek names. Discordia, Roman Greek names. Even Pluto, Roman, Greek, Saturn, all of those. So they are the ones who are watching over this. They are the ones who have read those books. They have that knowledge. Like, I had no idea that there was someone called, like, there was a deity called, yeah, like, what is the name of that one? Yeah, like all of this. Eris, I had no idea there was anything like that. The apple of discord, you know? They know all of this stuff, and they learn it in college fraternities. All right, so they have to be, at least you need 1 degree. So you have to go to college, and you're a first degree Freemason. Because of that, you have a degree. You're now, you're now free to build your life. So what you have to build, if you go to these colleges, build this pyramid, build this society, okay? So Colorado, so all of this, they have all of this. And of course the most ubiquitous is what they call the Great Seal, the Great Secret. All right. So so yes, so yes, so yes, so yes. So all of this, all of this, all of this. So this is speaking on that. All right. So now I told you to hold on to this symbol. All right. So the original seal of DARPA Information Awareness Office was this, exactly this. All right. So let me just, all right, let me click on, no, I don't want to, all right, all right, all right. Might as well just see it. Might as well just see the up close picture. But what I want to show you is we first encountered this here when we went to science. All right. So science potentia est. So this is used for Information Awareness Office. All right. And when we open Information Awareness Office, we see that this is established by the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. All right. So this stuff is very advanced. This is why I'm saying, like, this is one of my most important videos. But then it might not be able, you might not be able to understand it if you don't know who I am. Like, who I am is actually, I am a person of the heart, Moyondijo. Like, that is who I am, Moyondijo, right? But then this is to understand that I am from the land of yeah, I'm from the motherland, and I was born on 19111991. And if you know anything about numerology, that is ones and nines only. And through this, my number is a 5. But then through this, I know the beginning and end, beginning and end. When you read the numbers, like, go to the video on the days of creation through numerology, and look at how I perceive numbers. So when I go on the numbers, like, I actually see that the 1 and the 9, the beginning and the end, because 9 is the completion, the womb, but 1 is the beginning, 0 is invisible, and that's the 10 numbers. 0 invisible, 1 to 9, the 10 fingers, the 10 figures. So I am 1919191919, you know, so it's like 1010, but it's 19. So to me, that is trippy, and I think it's interesting. However, I'm veering off topic. Here in January 2002, again, these numbers, to bring together several DARPA projects focus on applying surveillance and information technology to track and monitor terrorists. Okay, so a terrorist is defined as anyone who is against that top here. So if you want to terrorize that, then you're a terrorist. So other asymmetric threats to the US national security by achieving total information awareness. Imagine this, total information awareness. So this is God, this is the provider, providence, which is speaking of omnipotence or omniscience, right? Science. This is where we first encountered this. So this was the project for omniscience, just to be the omnipotent, omniscient. Science is power. All right. So their power is knowledge, and they're using the knowledge of this pyramid. All right. So the pyramid is, they're using the knowledge of Egypt. So when you read the Bible, when it speaks of the pharaohs in Egypt, this is what they're speaking about. When we're breaking out of Egypt in terms of metaphysics and applying it to us in Holy Spirit or holographic spirit, we're speaking about getting out of this system where they want total information awareness. All right, so total information awareness, TIA, this is Africa, TIA, this is, yeah, but then they want total information awareness, right? So this is being able to break out of this Egypt, and through this is what they want to roll out with things to do with vaccines, so that they can fulfill this, things to do with vaccines, so that they can, the top of the top. So this pyramid is just speaking about, because, you know, understanding this is to know that the pyramids in Egypt were made for the highest of the highest. So a person who would be in a pyramid is a person who's already above $1 million, right? So the pyramid is not for everybody, it is for this group. So the pyramid is this group. So when we're looking at where was I? So yeah. So when we're looking at didn't I open this somewhere? Alright, no matter. When we're looking at this whole pyramid, we're looking at the 1%. This pyramid is the 1%. If you're hip to what we're going over, if you're hipping and hopping, hip hop. So this is about taking a quantum leap in your mind, hip hop. Alright. So if you're hip to it, if you're aware of it, this is the whole 1%. But within the 1%, there are the rich guys. Like you might be like rich, like like you might be rich, like let's say Kid Cudi. Like Kid Cudi's got money, right? But he's not Bill Gates rich, So Kid Cudi would be, yeah, he fits into the 1%, but he is not the 1%. So when you speak about the 1%, we're talking about people like who've got like stupid money. Bezos, Buffett, stupid money. So yeah. So there are certain people. I'm not naming no names. There's certain people who want TIA. All right. So this was achieved by creating. Listen to this. This was achieved, by creating enormous computer bases to gather and store personal information of everyone in the United States, including personal emails, social networks, credit cards records, phone calls, medical records, numerous other sources, without any requirement for a search warrant. This information was then analyzed to look for suspicious activities, connections between individuals, and threats. And a threat is a person who is messing with their money. Additionally, the program included funding for biometric surveillance technology. This is now where we're at, biometric surveillance, and this is the vaccine stuff that would identify and track individuals using surveillance cameras and other methods. Following public criticism that the development and deployment of this technology could potentially lead to a mass surveillance system, the IAO, so this is the people in the government, right? Actually made this, established by this admiral, former U.S. National Security Advisor to Reagan, right? This is like real stuff, right? All of this research, right? So all of this stuff. So I'm not getting into the bulk of this, but then they sat down and said, yeah, we're gonna use this as our logo. Science is power. And where did we first see this? On the wealth tab, right? This is linked to this. So if it's an algorithm, right, when we talk about wealth creation, they just randomly put this DARPA signal there. Knowledge is power. When you go here, knowledge is power. All right, knowledge is power. So this is their motto. This is how you find them. Knowledge is power, right? Knowledge is power. All right. So I wanted to go to DARPA. All right. So here it is. So knowledge is power, right? So this was achieved, by the way. So following public criticism that the development and deployment of this technology could potentially lead to mass surveillance, the IAO was defunded by Congress in 2003. However, several IAO projects continued to be funded and merely run under different names, as revealed by Edward Snowden during the course of the 2013 mass surveillance disclosures. All right. So Edward Snowden said this a long time ago, like 7 years ago. But then when he said it, this had been happening a long time ago. As a matter of fact, this had been happening since like 7/11. So this attack was the catalyst for them to actually start this DARPA program. All right. So this is just to know how far back this stretches, and how aware and carefully planned this was the whole time.